So it's been a minute since we've had some Potomac tea, like some like real good, like let's pour out some tea and actually let's sip it. But y'all, we got to talk about Stacey Rush and this wedding, or what looks like a wedding to say the least, okay? And who but Angela Oakley showing up for our girl Stacey? We're going to get into that, and we're also going to talk about who Marie says should be demoted on Belle Collective, and then we're going to talk about the episode. So stick around. You don't want to miss all that. All right, so let's get into. Wait, first of all, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and like this video if you haven't already done so, because it's free. Okay, it's free. It's a free way to support. And also, of course, leave your comments in the comments section as well. I'm anxious to see what you guys have to say about this. Okay, so Stacey, shout out to our friends over at the Bravoshaderoom, the Bravosnarkside. These were the two places where I actually happened to see this post. Now, the Bravosnarkside actually went as far as to tell us that the wedding was filmed for the upcoming season of the Real Housewives of Potomac. So they say, looks like Stacey Rush and her ex-husband have tied the knot again. And this time it's been filmed for the upcoming Real Housewives of Potomac season with the cast in attendance. It wouldn't surprise me if this was like the last event of the season. It would make sense if the season built up to this. But here's the thing though, and a shout out to Rodney Foster, who is credited for all of the pics. I wonder if these were okay to send out. I guess they would be because they're out here. So there you have it. Anyway, so you can see Stacey in her white dress with her man, and we're going to dive into the photo section now. Okay. So you have the Potomac ladies minus two very interesting faces. Who are we missing? Well, let's count first who we have. We have Monique Samuels, of course, who we had heard is returning in the friend of capacity. We have Dr. Wendy Osefo, as always. Wendy is always gonna give you a serve and a fashion moment. You have Tia, and is that Tia's mom? It looks like it could be, but I'm not sure. Then you have Robin Dixon, who we also know is returning as a friend. And you have, of course, Ashley, who is full-time. And then we have Courtney, who is the newest member of the cast. Now, fun fact, this Courtney is the same one that Ashley was seen arguing with just a few days ago when the ladies were in Rehoboth in Delaware. So this cast has been all over the place. I feel like they've been to Houston, they've been to London. I think they went to Houston for Gizelle. They went to London for their cast trip, and now Delaware. So this is going to be an interesting season to see all of the places that they end up going to, which is what I like about these shows when we get to see these different locations. All right, so we have that there, and then we have what looks like Stacey and Ashley and her Jack Harlow guy right there. See Wendy off to the side of Stacey, off to the right, the cameraman. Then you see Monique, and then you see what appears to be Robin standing beside or behind Monique, and what looks like Stacey and Ashley having a little bit of an intense moment. Now, who we don't see, let's get into that, are the Grande Dame herself, Karen Huger, and Gizelle Bryant, the two, I would say, leading ladies of this franchise. I don't know. We might have to put Stacey up there as the leading lady, as one of the leading ladies right now, because she's getting married and Stacey is on everybody's list, right? But Angela Oakley from the Real Housewives of Atlanta is also in attendance with her husband, Charles Oakley, as well. So that's going to be a little fun cameo. And you hear Stacey here.
So many beautiful people in our lives. Everyone here is special to us. Friends, family, colleagues. My mother is here. Thank you, thank you.
All right, so there we have it with that. And of course, you can see the beautiful setup here for the wedding. And of course, you can see a picture of Stacey and her man, and her man. And of course, you can see the camera crew here. So no word yet on if maybe the Grand Dame and Gizelle just didn't come, weren't invited, or what. But we are going to be seeing more of this in the coming months. Okay. So there's that. Let's get into Belle Collective, y'all. Belle Collective. So we're on episode 6 of season 8. And this is an interview with Chase from No Chaser TV. Okay. Now, this is an interview that Dr. Marie Monroe has done. And in this interview, this clip, the headline reads, Marie feels Belle Collective could use 2 new Bells in this No Chaser TV exclusive. And the caption reads, Marie didn't hold back in her interview in the lounge with Chase of No Chaser. Here, she states, owns Belle Collective could use 2 new Bells and potentially either demote or replace 2 current Bells. So let's talk, man. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's have some real talk. Let's have some real conversation. All right. So first, Marie is basically stating in this, and I'm going to have to give Marie some props for being all the way real and 100% here, is that she feels like she wants to be around some women she can get something from, like she can learn from as well. And she just feels like from 1 or 2 of the Bells that she's just not getting anything. When Chase goes on to say, and kind of question, well, who? And she doesn't really give us a who, but she does say, you guys are watching the show. You can see who's not really given, who can't stand on their own. And maybe they should be either replaced or demoted and to a friend of. Now, because Chase asked, well, maybe adding 2 new Bells. I firmly believe that this cast needs about 7 Bells at this point, because there is something to what she says here. And this is just being real, okay? I'm gonna keep it all the way 100% for real. I think that the people who end up giving the most on this show in this season that I've seen quite a bit of, I've seen a lot with Leteshia. Now, granted, I feel like the Leteshia and Glenn of it all, their ups and downs, I do feel like we kind of almost came to some resolution in this episode. Matt and Kerri are actually really doing a lot more in this season than I feel like they did in the previous season. But they were so new last season, and I felt like she kind of like got away with not really having to do a lot. But in this particular season, oh yeah, we're getting a lot from Kerri and from Matt. Latrice is always going to give. I feel, to be honest with you, like Latrice and Leteshia end up giving the most to this show, because I feel like we end up seeing so much of them, from Latrice being able to film in her restaurant to in her home to now planning the cash trip. I feel like Leteshia and Latrice are on equal footing as far as that goes. Now, in terms of Marie, I personally feel like Marie, what I get from her is a little bit secondary, to be honest with you. And that does not mean that Marie did not film a lot. What that means is that we did not get a lot. Okay. And even in this episode, there's a lot of conversation or questions about her business and what has happened to it. But her response to me didn't feel warranted for the questions that were asked, because I didn't get the sense that the ladies were questioning her to the degree that which she felt like she was being in an inquisition or something like that. I felt like she took it worse than they asked it, personally speaking, unless, again, there was something I did not see. And even with her dating, I never really truly believe that it's real, because I don't ever feel like she ends up with any of the people that she ends up going out on these dates with. So in terms of that story, I just don't feel like it ever gives me anything, because I just don't really go get that deep into it. I would rather see Marie in the dealings with her business, because that's more interesting to me. And I feel like that's where she really shines. And that's probably the most meaningful aspects of her story in this particular season of her life, or at least on the show. Now, let's move on to Tambra. I would have agreed with Marie in the past about Tambra, But I do feel like either production has shown us more of Tambra in this season, or that or Tambra's been around more. I don't know which is the case, but I do feel like we've gotten a lot more from Tambra in this season than we have in past seasons. So I don't necessarily know that I agree with Marie, because I feel like she's either talking about Selena or Tambra, because my next person is going to be Selena. With the fact that Selena is having a wedding on this show, I don't know if it is that we're not getting a lot of Selena. I don't know if Selena has taken a secondary role on this show. I don't know, but at times Selena feels more like a friend of the show than a main cast member on the show. She is the one who is getting married, so I would expect a lot more scenes about that. I would expect a lot of scenes with her girls, the wedding planning of it all. I just don't think that we've been really getting that from her. So that's shocking to me. And to be quite honest with you, I felt like she was a lot more active and edgier when she was in conflict with Shantae, aka Sophia, aka Soguchi. So I just want that Selena. I want spicy Selena, because when she came onto the scene, she gave us spice, she gave us attitude. It was very much on a diva type of like time. And I thought that that's what we were going to get, but I feel like we haven't necessarily gotten that. Or at least the camera hasn't shown that to us. So, who do you think that Marie is talking about? And I do think that we need to add in some new energy here, because it's starting to feel a bit stale. Although I did like this episode a lot. Okay. So let's get into the episode itself, because we've already talked about all of this as much as we possibly can. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Am I reading this wrong? Or do you guys agree? Who do you think Marie was talking about? I think she either had to be talking about Tambra, or she had to be talking about Selena, or both. But again, I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong, because when she said they can't stand on their own, she could also be referring to Kerri. So, and I feel like Marie has been testing Kerri all season. Sometimes it feels unwarranted, but it is what it is. I don't really feel like Kerri is as much of a flip flopper as Marie says, as much as I feel like Kerri don't really have time for Marie. That's what I feel like. And actually, the funniest line of the episode actually came from Kerri about Marie in this episode, but we'll talk about that as we get into it. So let's discuss Belle Collective Season 8, Episode 6, Mama-in-Law Said Knock You Out. Latrice and Glenn bring the collective and their men to Atlanta to celebrate Selena and Mike's wedding. Maria is upset over false rumors that her business has closed, and Kerri continues to lock horns with Marlene. Glenn bonds with his son. So the episode picks up with Kerri still having a meltdown over Matt not really. I feel this is what I feel like with Kerri, and I don't like when somebody does this, okay? Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. I feel personally like Kerri expects for Matt to be as emotional as she is about their situation with the restaurant, and he's just not that. He comes into this with a totally different mindset. I feel like he is trying to be the person who objectively is there to lift her spirits as she's going through this moment. And I feel like she wants him to be down in the trenches of emotion with her. And I'm just like, it just don't resonate the same for him. And so as he's trying to lift her up and give her some positive affirmation, she wants him to be in the devastation and rolling around in the mud and rolling around in the weeds and the gravel, because she is on the woe is me track. I get it, babe. I get it. I get having to close your business. I do not own a multi-million-dollar restaurante or anything like that, but I can only imagine what a suffrage it is for you at this point in time. I can only imagine, okay? But your suffering does not have to equal his suffering. And in any relationship, the two people are not going to feel the exact same. So just because he has some positive vibe and sunshine to add to your rain does not mean that you should discount his sunshine because you don't feel like seeing the sun while you are in your rainy season. Okay. Why do both people need to be in the rain at the same time? Okay. Now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be rocking with her. He shouldn't be holding on to her and giving her support. But the way that he gives support is just a little bit different. Now, I also get it. Sometimes we want to get advice and we want to hear, oh, God, girl, the situation is bad. It's dire. Yes, girl, you are dangling on the edge. You're about to fall off that cliff. Yep, girl, I see it. You sure suck for it. Doggone it. Yeah. Woe is you. Woe is you. Woe is us. What are we going to do? Blame it on the rain. Yeah, yeah. I mean, is that what you want? Like for real, for real? Because I don't want that. I don't want that. Because you know what's funny about these times? When I've been through my darkest moments and I think about the people in my life that were like, you know what? We got to get up, bro. We gotta move on. Even in that moment when I didn't want to hear it, I remembered it later. Those were the voices that kept me going subconsciously. And so you have to learn how to really appreciate those people who are pouring into you while you are at your lowest. Okay. And I feel like that's what's happening with Kerri here. And I don't necessarily want somebody to be in the woe is me with me. I do want somebody to remind me of the good in this life because that's how you get back to your best self, at least in my opinion. But that's just me. Anyway, so she's in the midst of her woe, and in comes God, aka her mother-in-law, who equates herself to ushering in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ himself, because God has arrived, okay, along with her, allegedly. And so now that Marlene, aka the Lord, Lord Marlene, okay, now that Lord Marlene has entered the building, Mary Mother, now that Mary Mother Marlene has entered the building, she is ushered in a new age, and Kerri is, even more upset. But not so upset that she should forget that she has bought props to this meeting. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. She's bought a whole poster board. What do you call that thing? A chalkboard, some type of big whiteboard so she can draw up what the land looks like and how it should be divided. Because you know, she's still on this mess with the Miss Mother Mary Marlene and her land. Okay. Now, as they were talking about it today, I was just like, as Matt is saying that his wife has overstepped her bounds, has she? Well, I think she has to a certain degree. But if she's also being asked to chip in for the payments of said land, at a certain point I might want some say too. I don't really get all of the dynamics of this situation. To be quite frank with you, I would leave that land alone and let Matt deal with it. Matt, this land stuff has to come out of your account. You deal with it. I'm gonna deal with this restaurant and we're gonna figure that out. I don't want to hear nothing Mother Mary Marlene got to say about my restaurants. And I don't want to hear nothing that y'all got to say about this whole land situation. Y'all figure that out. I'm gonna figure this out. Everybody stay in their land and we'll be just fine. When Mother Mary Marlene sees that whiteboard, she calls old girl a clown, a lunatic. Now, I think that at this point, I don't like the way that Kerri be talking to Miss Mother Mary Marlene, but I certainly am not here for Miss Mary Marlene calling the man's wife a lunatic and a clown. I think that both of them have crossed some boundaries. And Matt, I do think it's time for you to step in and you to put a stop to all of this shenanigans. I think that Mother Mary Marlene is too much in the weeds about what's going on in your household. And I think that you got your wife too tangled up in what is happening with Mary Mother Marlene and the family land. Okay. You take care of Mary Mother Marlene and the family land, and you leave the brick and spoon to old girl, and you just be there to support. If you want to lay down and wallow in the mud, you just gonna have to let her lay down and wallow in the mud and sprinkle her with a hose because that's what she want to be right now. So that's what you got to let her be. I'm not saying she don't deserve to be there, but I'm just saying go ahead and spray her down with a hose. I'm here for you, babe. You want to be in the mud and you want to wallow in it? I'm going to help you wallow, baby. I'm going to wallow, baby. Wallow in it. Wallow. Wallow. Okay? Whenever she get ready to come up out that mud and that sand pit that she's sinking down up into, you be there with the ladder to lift her up out of it. I'm about minimal stress, okay? Minimal stress. And then you send mama her money, however long these taxes are due, and you keep mama away from the house. Period. End of story. Case closed. Solved. Glenn takes his son to get a haircut. There's that. All right. So now, Latrice gets the girls together at her restaurante, and all the girls are dressed to the nines for a little ponderosa. Everybody seems to be getting along ish, but Marie is doing some adjusting and new locationing with the lease and the business and the moving buildings and the closures. And I don't really know because, to be honest with you, I was making breakfast. But I'm just going to be honest with you. So as we see all of this happening in the background, Marie is trying to explain what is going on with the Bells. Now, apparently, there was some comment under some post about the lease being up. So the girls were just a little bit confused about, okay, so is this building closed? Did you close your business altogether? What's going on? I don't think that there was anything wrong with those questions and trying to understand where Marie was and where she stands with her business. I don't get it. I think that she was frustrated, maybe because I think that she thought that this was going to be a story that everybody was going to run with. But I felt like the person running with the story was Marie, and she was running faster than anybody else in this situation. I felt like they were running to catch up with her, not that she was running to catch up with this story. So I just felt like, Marie, I think that you were taking this a little bit further than it needed to go in terms of your angst and your ire about the situation. So I just think that it was a bit too much in terms of, like, I don't necessarily think you needed to even do all of that with regards to what's going on with your business. I think a simple explanation about, okay, girls, this is what's happening in the background. This is where I've been with my business. And that's that. Boom. Keep it cute and keep it closed. This comes up again at Marie's event. Before that, though, she has a little bit of a situation with Kerri and wanting to know what's going on with her marriage. I felt like Kerri wasn't giving her any energy and Marie was trying to make it into something more. I feel like she just keeps trying to test Kerri for some reason because maybe she feels like Kerri ain't doing nothing. I don't really know. Moving on, Glenn and Latrice have planned a trip to Atlanta. This is probably the funniest part of the episode. So watching Glenn and Latrice together is actually very, very fun. Watching them skip and skedaddle through that house, trying to figure out the rooms, and watching Cliff and Leteshia try to figure out what they're doing. And we find out that they have given Kerri and Matt this room in the bike. Like this, they gave them a closet in the back room. Like it's a walk-in closet pretty much, because we learned that Latrice was still upset from when they went down to Kerri's place and Kerri gave Leteshia and her a bunk bedroom situation. So it's going to be some drama when Kerri arrives. Now, Kerri has been put in a van with Marie, Selena, Tambra, and I think Selena's man was back there. I can't recall, because if he was quiet. So anyway, all of this is for Selena's bachelorette and Mike's bachelor party weekend in Atlanta. So as Maria is responding again to these rumors about her business that aren't really rumors to me, but she's responding like she's upset, like everybody's questioning her, like they don't believe her business is in existence anymore. And Kerri is like, okay, I mean, okay, so mental health is alive and well in Mississippi. I was like, I mean, I couldn't help but laugh because I was like, yeah, like I don't see anybody else reacting the same way that you are, Marie. So it was given like, I don't think anybody's that invested in the story in the way that you are. And Tambra was very, very supportive of this business. all throughout the episode, Tambra was like, Marie is about her business. Marie is building her business. So it's just interesting to watch Marie in this interview talk about who I believe could be Tambra or it could be Kerri. I don't really know. One of the two. She's talking about one of the three people. Selena, Kerri, or Tambra. Y'all let me know. Anyway, they pull up to the house and then we have to kind of convene in the next episode about how the reaction is going to be. So it looks like a lot of the next episode is about Kerri and Matt. So we'll see how that plays out. Let me know what you thought of the episode. I actually really liked it. I thought it was good. It was funny to me. Oh, Glenn and Leteshia meet with Glenn's attorney. And it works out really, really well. Glenn is very much listening to Leteshia talk about how she wants to have her money that she's making from the things that she's doing right now go to her in the event that this is her money, right? This is what she's doing and it's her money and she's still going to contribute 50-50 to the house. He's very, very understanding of this. Everything goes really, really well. And I feel like Glenn is on a path to trying to make things as right as he possibly can with the situation. I don't know. It felt good in the moment. So I'm just going to leave it there and hope for the best. Okay. So anyway, that was Belle Collective for this week. Let me know what your thoughts are. Who you think Marie was talking about? Are you excited about seeing Stacey's wedding? Do you think Gizelle and Karen actually made it or were they invited at all? Knowing Stacey, I wouldn't be surprised if they were not invited. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Okay. With that being said, I will catch you in the next. Last thing. Make sure you guys like this video. And I want to again see your comments, subscribe, but also be sure to link in the comment section down below and grab your copy of the Faceless Content Blueprint before it is gone. All right. I'll catch you guys in the next video.